In about 2013, both my husband and my daughter were diagnosed with cancer. My husband had had esophageal cancer, and it had come back and spread into his lungs. And my daughter, who lived in Kansas City, was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a really difficult and challenging time for us. I was working here at the time, and I just remember how I would go to work, and I knew I was going to see people whose eyes I could see the love and the care in, who gave me hugs, who asked me how I was, who supported me. You know, people were there for me, just as the staff was there for me. And they too, you know, I could see the compassion and the care in their eyes, the prayers, the hugs. It was all just an incredibly healing time. My husband passed away in 2016, and shortly before he died, we went to see the liturgy director to make plans for his funeral. And I wasn't so sure that we were going to be able to do everything that Jim had on his list, but I was wrong. With the help and the patience and the compassion and the caring and the creativity of the liturgy director, the plans were put into place. And I've never been to a more celebratory funeral. It was a wonderful funeral. It could only have happened here. He would have loved it. I remember he had said to me on the way home after we made the plans for the funeral, he said, the only problem is, he said, I just hate to miss it.
Shortly after my husband's retirement, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and dementia. But this did not stop him from coming to the 7 a.m. Mass and the coffee group. It was a very difficult time because he had to give up so much. It was just a year of loss. He could no longer play golf, he couldn't drive, he couldn't even walk the dog. But one thing he could do was get up, get dressed, and come to the 7 a.m. Mass. This was a very new experience for him. His life up until that point had been, he was a professional and he was an athlete. And so much of his life was competition. And for the first time, he was able to sit around with a group of men who were non-judgmental, loving, telling stories, and sharing. Being there for someone who has memory loss has many challenges. You must be there physically for the person to keep them safe and comfortable, but most times they're not emotionally there for you. So it becomes a very lonely time, a very isolating time. And I think it was this awareness that prompted me one Sunday after Mass to go over to Chris, who had been sitting in the back, and her husband was in a wheelchair, and just give her a hug and tell her I knew what she was going through and that I was there for her. She invited me to her home for coffee, and we became fast friends. Later that year, I mentioned to her that I thought Phil would enjoy the same coffee group that Darwin enjoyed. And I am told that he has taken Darwin's place as life of the party.
For many years, my husband and I have 4 grandsons, 3 of whom live with autism. And we took care of them. They lived with us for 20 years. After they moved out a year and a half ago. And after they moved out, within a month, then Phil was diagnosed with all kinds of things, you know. First Alzheimer and dementia and, you know, and Parkinson's and a host of other things. And they weren't sure which one. He has characteristics of so many things, they didn't know which. And that was really tough. So one day I was at my wit's ends. I was praying. I said, Father, either you take him or you take me because I can't handle this anymore. And I guess that was the beginning of my body saying, whoa, what about me? So out of the blue, one day, my body turned into jello. I just crumbled to the floor. I could see and hear everything, but I was completely paralyzed on the floor. Could not move, could not lift my eyelids, and could not talk. So when that happened, and my husband could not even pick up the phone to call anybody, that was when the fear set in. I was really scared. And so I was praying, and I was praying to, I had a picture of the Holy Mother, it was beautiful. And my eyes just happened to look at her, and I said, Mother, I need help. I don't know what to do, and I couldn't go on. And I'm very fearful. Would you just hold me? Would you just help me? That was Saturday. The next day we went to Mass, and there was a lady at Mass whom we have seen for years, but never met, never known the name, never introduced ourselves. She stopped. I didn't know her name. She stopped and she said, hi, I've been thinking about you. I'm Mary. The world started to freeze on me when she said my name is Mary. So she started to tell me that how she had observed my husband has gone from walking to the walker, to the wheelchair, to the scooter, and she just wanted to know how I was doing, if I need any help. For me, it was very poignant because as soon as I asked for the Holy Mother to help me, she sent a Mary to help. And that was really the beginning of me finding resources for help. I feel so much better. And then Mary also invited me to the weekday Mass where we were able to go in and have coffee. And so the fellowship with the people here at the Casa, at this coffee, really hastened the healing for my husband. He improved leaps and bounds. And our daughter, who had not seen him in 2 months, told me, Mother, what did you do? My father is back. My father's back. Where else can I go now? This is home.